Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video, I'm just going to be doing a season recap of my first season with Empire Elite. I'm going to talk about the ups, the downs, how I felt, and kind of go into depth a little bit more into each race. For those who are new, I'm just going to start with my PRs out of college. My PR in the mile is a 4:08. My PR in the 1500 is 3:45. 150 in the 800 and 226 in the 1000. My first official competition under Empire was this small cross-country meet. It was very small. I think in total it had to be less than like 8 guys. It was some of us Empire Elite guys, and then there's like maybe a few high schoolers. So it's more like a time trial, I guess. But I believe I ran 24:55 or 50 something in that kind of range. But that first race for me was pretty good. My PR in college was around that same time, so being able to run that time as my first cross-country race was very big for me. So after that race, we geared up for the Club Cross Championships, which was held at the FSU course. I believe the Division I national meet was held on. Going into that race, I actually thought I was going to run like a very fast time, kind of looking at the Division I times, but it ended up being a slower race, and it was kind of humid, so I believe the winning time was just over 30 minutes. I ended up running 32:15, placing 46. As a team, Empire Elite placed 7th. I think as a middle distance team, we held our own against the longer distance teams. So overall, everyone was pretty happy with that. One aspect that I really missed from college is cross-country meets. I really loved like the team aspect of it, so it was kind of nice to have a mini season. I'm really looking forward to the 2022 Club Cross Championships. So after a mini cross-country season, our goals shift towards indoor. Being from Minnesota, I pretty much stayed in the Midwest for most of my meets. So coming out here and being able to practice at the Armory for, Tuesdays and Fridays practice was awesome, and, experiencing things like the Millrose games and the BU Valentine and Boston, that is something I never experienced before, and it's very cool to go to these track venues in the East Coast. So I opened up my season at the Millrose games. We actually competed in the DMR. I don't think it was televised at all. It was one of the first races of the day, so it's kind of in the morning where no one watches pretty much, but I ended up running 151. We placed first with a 9:55, so it wasn't like a crazy time. However, I was pretty happy with a 151 in the 800. My PR, like I said, is 150, so being that close to my PR with my first race was very big for me. It kind of just shows that training was working so far, and that a good year was on the horizon. I also came back and paced the B heat of the mile. I kind of botched that. I ran a 2:01 through 800, and I believe I was supposed to be 1:58, but that was kind of my first pacing jobs. Hopefully I'll be better next time if I'm pacing. So flash forward a week later, we're back at the Armory for the Dr. Sanders Invitational meet. I raced in the mile. I ended up running a 4:01, which was another great big PR for me, coming from 4:08 to 4:01. Even though a high schooler beat me, I was very happy with this race. I feel like the only downfall of this race is it kind of showed my bad racing habits, and it kind of continued throughout the season, where I kind of raced towards the back and moved my way up, which is one thing I did in college, but running at the professional, semi-professional level, I really need to work on placing myself in a better position. So 2 weeks later, we traveled to Boston to race at the BU Valentine. I ended up running 2:20. Luciano ran 2:19 in that race as well. This was another huge PR for me. And racing at the BU track, I did not think it was that fast, but as soon as I stepped on the track, I felt very springy. So being able to run, a 2:20, that's another 6-second PR for me. By the end of the race, I found out I qualified for the US Indoor Championships and the 800 actually. Since there's no 1000 at the championships, you can hit a fast enough time in the 1000 in order to qualify yourself in the 800. I believe the qualifying standards were the 224, or you can run a 147. The 1,000-meter race is definitely a easier race to hit that qualifying standard for the indoor championships. So I believe 1 week later, I competed at the Ocean Breeze complex. I ran an 800. This race was kind of sloppy. Luciano and I went on for a warm-up, thinking that the meet was delayed, but it wasn't. That's what we were told, and then we come back and we have to like rush and get ready to race right away. However, we ended up running a 149, and we kind of got stuck behind a runner. And honestly, a 149 was good for me. It's another PR. Running 3 PRs in a row was a big confidence booster for me going into the rest of the season. So after this meet, we were trying to figure out if I wanted to run at the US Championships or run at the BU Last Chance meet. The goal was for like at the Last Chance meet to run a mile and try to run under 4, or go to the US Championships, get experience, race the best in the US. At that time, we didn't know Josh Kerr was going for the British record. I don't think that would have changed my decision process at all, because my goal is to continue racing at the US Championships and get experience. So this was probably, looking back at it now, I'm happy I made that decision. So the US Championships was in Spokane, Washington at the new indoor facility. It's amazing. I really love the facility. I believe Cooper Tier and Cole Hawker ran 350, and the previous indoor DMR for the women, the US record was set there. So going into that race, you knew it was going to be fast. One thing that was my downfall for this meet is I kind of got stuck in my head, and I feel like as my first year, competing against and seeing guys like Craig Ingalls, Donovan Brazier, and all these guys at the US Championships, I was a bit nervous, and I kind of like put myself on a lower pedestal compared to them. Going forward now, I know that I can compete with these guys and at least run with these guys for the majority of the race. I just have to be confident in myself. In my race, I ended up running a 148. However, I did get DQ'd. I believe I was actually in lane 6. So in lane 6, obviously this track is banked. So when you're in lane 6, you're literally kind of on the side. The track pushes you inward. So when I started the race, I got out good, and when I came around that second turn, I believe, going up and around the curve, I got pushed. The track kind of pushed me in. I ended up stepping on the line about 6 times, so the time didn't count. However, it was another PR for me. I kind of walked away from that race a little disappointed, because I felt like I didn't really give myself the best opportunity to make the final. And now I kind of realize like I have to treat all these prelims as a final. So that is the indoor season. I pretty much PR'd in all of my races besides that last race where I got DQ'd. But it was a great season regardless. I never would have imagined, making these big jumps from 408 to 401 and 226 to 220, breaking 150 in my first season right away. So it kind of set up the outdoor season very well for me. I was very confident, and I also have to accredit that to my fall training and having a good base, and running the cross country races. That helped me have a good build into the indoor season. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for the spring and summer episodes. I think it's going to be maybe 3 videos. I might just break up the spring and then go to the summer. So stay on the lookout for that. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.